In this video, we'll use the list component override mixin to customize the height of our list items within the settings panel. When you click on one of these radio inputs, you'll notice that the bottom is being cut off. And what we could do here is override the height of our list items, and that will give us some more space where we can see our buttons better. Before we dive into the documentation and view how we could use this override, we first need to figure out which token is being used and which token we need to override to set the height for this. Let's open up the developer tools. And if you hit Control-Shift-C, or if you select this little button up here at the top left corner, this should activate your element selector. And then if you click on the list item that you want to look at, like this one for example, you should see a list of classes showing up in the dropdown. Now take note of the width 2 lines towards the end there. This indicates the layout of the list items. Angular material uses tokens like 1 line, 2 line, and 3 lines based on how many content lines the list item displays. For testing purposes, let's update our list items by removing one of the lines, and we can see this class update. Here within the pages HTML, just for testing purposes, I'm going to remove one of the lines. Let's remove this radio group here. I'll comment this out. And then also I'll comment out the other radio group in the other list item. Now keep in mind this is within our settings panel. Now we only have one line available. Now if we save this, make sure the application's running and it refreshes. And if we view this in the browser, and now our toggle options, now our toggle inputs should be gone, and now we only have one line per list item. And then now if I select this selector here, element selector, and I hover on it, unfortunately I don't see the ending of that last class there. So I'll just go ahead and I'll select that and look at the right here. And now you'll notice that there's one line. And this would be the token that we would need to target if we wanted to override the height of this if there was only one line. But the one we're interested in is the 2 lines. So I'll come back here, I'll undo the changes. So let's undo this. And then we'll go back here. We'll check this again. Our inputs are back in there. I'll select it. And then this is the token that we're after. Let's look for that within the documentation. And then we find the list component that's here. And then select the styling tab. Then under the search field here, we'll look for something like line. And then to break this down even farther, it falls under density. And since our list items have 2 lines, we're after this token here. This is the one we'll override. The override mixin we want to use is the list override. I'll go ahead, I'll copy this example. We'll add this within our project. Inside of the pages component SAS file, we'll add in a new class. And I'll call this something like settings since we're working in the settings panel. And then list item, that'd be good. And then inside here, we'll add in our mixin, our override mixin. We're using this mat, and if you've been following along from the beginning, we pulled this in from Angular material and we're referencing it by mat. We did that in a prior video. And then now we're using the list override, and we do not want to override these 2 tokens. I'll remove this. And we'll add in the token that we do want to override, the list item 2 line container height. And we'll set this to 80 pixels as a height. That's the only changes we need to make within the pages SAS file. Let's update the template. And inside of our setting side nav, so inside of this one here, we'll update each of our list items here. And we'll add in the class attribute. Then add in the class name, the setting list item that we just created. And then you want to add that to each of your list items. So I'll copy this again and move it down to here as well. And now we should see our changes within the browser. Now, if we look at the settings panel and we click on the buttons, you do not see it being cut off at the bottom anymore. That looks a lot better. And that's how you override a list item within Angular material. Now in the next video, let's start looking into icons. So we'll add icons to each one of these list items. Also replace this text within these buttons with icons. And we'll start on that next.